It's July 27th. This is Meet the Movie Press coming up on the show this week. Comic-Con 2018. What was up with that? The Joker casting gets so serious. Charlie's Angels revealed. Disney Fox things up. There's been a deal, so deal with it. Plus the week's big releases, the box office, and the trailers that you need to know or see. Is it know or see? I don't know. It's not important. Coming up on this week's Meet the Movie Press. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
This is Meet the Movie Press. I'm Simon Thompson in the main host chair. With me, as usual, is Scott. Hello, Scott. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm okay. Now, when you came into the studio today, we'll talk about where we can find you online in a second.
Sure.
You mentioned my face.
Yes.
A lot of people comment on it.
Yeah.
Usually they run scared, I'll be honest with you. I have a little bit of a shiner left, and I have some scrapes on my eye, because this twat...
He got punched in the face because he's such an asshole.
I would like to think that someone mistook me for Jason Statham, but I just, like a twat, fell over the back of a scooter when I was going back to my hotel within hours of getting to Comic-Con. So for the entire thing, I actually had makeup people who were displaying at Comic-Con going, "That's really good. How did you do that?" And I was like, I fell over like a dick. So I face planted into the street of San Diego as I was going back to my hotel within hours of getting there. I wish I was drunker, because it would have hurt a lot less.
Yes.
It was painful. So that's why this little beauty is still on my face. It was terrible for a few days, though.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Very much so.
But enough about me. We're going to talk more about Comic-Con. So, Scott, who are you and where can we find you?
So you can find me at weliveentertainment.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @theotherscottm. And I also do a show on Black Hollywood Live on Sundays at 5 p.m. with Carla Renata called Black Tomatoes.
Now, Demetri is not here this week.
No, it feels lonely over here.
I just had an
we
email.
rub shoulders. It's very nice.
I know, and I'm sure he's watching. He's actually just sent me an email. Guys, I'm in San Diego for Comic-Con. You didn't tell me it was last week. Oh, fuck, that's awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I feel really bad.
I don't know how we forgot. Shit.
We'll make it up to him.
Yeah.
I've got some Funko
We'll have to buy him
pops.
that Star Trek beer he wants.
Yeah.
We'll have to do something
Yeah.
nice for
Dude,
him.
I feel really bad about this.
Yeah, it's really bad.
But he'll be back.
And he was so excited
He
about
was
the
very
Halloween,
excited.
the Halloween panel.
But he'll be able to get near a bar. He had no
Yeah.
problem getting a room. Hall H might be slightly busier this week.
We should have took that as a notice when he was able to get a room for $99 as opposed to $500.
Absolutely. But like I say, Hall H is slightly busier this week than it was. But we'll talk about Comic-Con in a bit. Demetri, we're only joking. Demetri knows it's not Comic-Con this weekend, in case you didn't realise that terrible joke.
Right.
He's going to be back next week. Unfortunately, he's busy with some work stuff, which we both are today.
Absolutely.
Which is why we have to rattle through this.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start off talking about Comic-Con first of all. What was up with that this year? A lot of people were saying, we know a lot of the big studios didn't take a lot of stuff there. Some were no-shows completely, along with some of the TV networks. There was a lot of stuff there that wasn't really within, it was genre, but not the genre you associate with Comic-Con. Hall H was walk-in for a lot of the time, which I've never heard of in my years covering Comic-Con. It seemed attendance was quite low. There was a lot less cosplay. There was still a high presence, but not as much as previous years. And there was a slightly different vibe. You were in Hall H a lot. Let's talk about that first of all.
Well, I want to first say that Hall H, for the most part, was dead. But I feel like all the smaller rooms
were packed. Yeah.
Because I was trying to get into the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend panel, which was in 6AB. And I went there 45 minutes before. The line was all the way down the hall, all the way outside, wrapped around.
Yeah.
And there was no, I asked the lady, I'm like, is there any point in standing in this line? She's like, you'll never get in.
Yeah.
So Hall H, though, almost every panel I walked to the back, there was at least a whole back row of seats full.
Yeah.
I mean, empty. And I mean, it was really dead in Hall H.
Yeah.
And
even sort of 5 or 10 minutes before some of the panels, it was a third, maybe a half full.
Well, the first day, they actually held the Predator panel because it wasn't full in there.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Well, here's the thing. The lineup, this is not an excuse of HBO or Marvel not being there, Disney. It's not.
No.
It was the level of quality programming.
On a scale of factors, I think that is a factor. It's not a massive factor.
No, it was like the studios were just lazy in terms of what they put there. Like, it's like Predator. Okay, we're going to have an hour-long panel on Predator. Like, you have all these other movies coming out. Why are they not talking about them? And then when they did the Deadpool 2 one, it was like...
Which, to me, remains still a very strange decision.
Yeah, because it was like, this is already out. You're doing this to promote the Blu-ray, and then everything was an anniversary this year. It's like, oh, okay, we're gonna do Breaking Bad 10 year. Like, that's the highlight.
Yeah.
Like, and why is that there in the first place? That has nothing to do with anything. It's so strange. Like, the whole thing, and the tone. Like, I feel like everyone felt underwhelmed. Like, every day when you walked out of Hall H, there was nothing that stood out. Like, I feel like Warner Brothers was the only panel that like really like upped the game.
Yeah,
and
it delivered a lot of content.
And it went. And the funny thing is that they started with the Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
And that reveal of Depp coming out, which I don't care. Like, I know they're like, oh, they bashed him. No one bashed him. It was praise. Everyone loved it. It was great. And I mean,
regardless of obviously the allegations against Johnny Depp, he does remain a very popular actor.
Yeah.
And the characters that he portrays still remain very popular. So.
Yeah, and I mean,
those are two independent and linked facts.
But Warner Brothers, to me, even shot themselves in the foot by opening with that.
Yeah.
Because what happened was they set that bar so high that when the Lego movie came on after that, I was like, what is this? Like, I saw
nobody talking about the Lego movie.
No.
I mean, it's just, when I was looking back through some stuff that was covered by various different outlets, and Lego Movie 2 was mentioned, and I was like, I completely forgot that was there.
Yeah.
I completely forgot.
Yeah, and I mean, all the hype around Wonder Woman, like, I thought even that panel, like, it was nice to have Patty and Gal and Chris come out. But it was like, oh, we can't really talk about anything. We're just going to, like, walk around the question for 16 minutes. And I just felt like... And the Aquaman one was good.
To me, it's a case of either bring it or don't bring it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the ideal opportunity. We have this more and more with movies every year, is there's so many people desperately coming up with theories, trying to find out what is in the movies, all this stuff that we find online. This is the perfect opportunity for them to go, okay, fine, we're not going to give you a lot, but we are going to... There are 5 things that people are talking about or they're making shit up about. Let's tackle those 5 things. Let's put those to bed. And then we'll rest it for a couple of months, and then we'll give you something else around January time, and just do it like that. I have to say, a lot of the movies that were... Wonder Woman's one of them. There was Godzilla, a number of them that are coming out next summer. Some of these movies now, even after a week of Comic-Con, or week after Comic-Con, I am already getting tired of hearing about some of next year's movies.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel a little bit of burn on some of them already, and they're almost 12 months out, some of them. I think we really do... We're putting too much on that 12-month thing. A year is a long time. And I just think... I don't think we need to do this as much. I mean, there's plenty of stuff coming out in the next 6 months as we head towards awards season that we can focus on, that we can talk about, that we can show new footage from and stuff like that, especially around the holidays. I mean, this year's holiday period is rammed with big movies.
I know.
But we don't seem to be, by comparison, talking so much about those things. And I think sometimes the industry leapfrogs itself and almost hides its own content under a bushel. And I just think this is the ideal opportunity to bring some of that stuff out. Really, really promote that. Start talking about next summer, but put the emphasis on what is within 6 months.
I'm glad you're bringing this up. I mean, there's a movie coming out that's supposed to be like really a big deal called Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
And I feel like under the radar, nothing about it. Nothing about it. No marketing, nothing.
I know they've had like influencer stuff in LA, and every time I go to the AMC Century City where they have a lot of screenings, I walk in there and there's a big poster of it, and I was like, is this film coming out?
I know.
And I'm just like, it's literally fucking weeks away.
It's, I think, 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
And
I spoke to someone the other day about The Meg, and they thought it had come out because they've seen so many posters and so many things about it in them. They're like, did it come out? Is that already? Did I miss it this summer? I'm like, no, it's out in like 2 weeks.
I know.
And it's just weird. I think this is why I think a lot of movies that are coming out are just getting overshadowed and aren't doing the box office that they should, because we keep shouting about stuff that's 12 months out. And audiences, I think, there's too much There's too much.
There is. I mean, everything is like, I mean, just look at the superhero slate for next year already. Yep. I mean, you got Captain Marvel coming out. You got the next Avengers movie coming out. You got Shazam. You got Wonder Woman. And then that's going to happen. Just like right now, there's all this fucking back and forth, which I can't stand, that people are comparing that Aquaman's a ripoff of Black Panther, which is like just started to hit the fucking headlines for the last like week or two now, and it's like they're all copies of each other. Like it's like stones, whatever, boxes, like it's the same
does
stuff.
Thing has superpowers, shit happens, fight an enemy, the end.
Yeah, but
it's a trope.
I agree with you. Like there's so much build up to something.
Yeah.
That like I love the Shazam trailer, which we'll talk about later.
We'll talk about that later.
But like at the end of the day, like it's like, do we really need to be pushing this right now when there's push Aquaman? That's the important thing right now. We need to worry about that one. Let's worry about that one after that does okay.
And the thing is, you are satisfying an element of the fandom by the fact that you're giving them lots of content over 12 months. But this is also something that can work in a negative way by the fact that if you're at this point going undecided on, say, Aquaman or Shazam, or you're like, if you are then constantly, it's shoved in your face for 12 months, you're just like, oh, fuck, enough with the Aquaman, enough with the Shazam, and you effectively put off people.
Yeah.
And this happened with the first Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah, the Incredible Spider-Man, yeah.
Before that movie came out, there was, I think it was like 30 to 40 minutes on clips and featurettes and trailers of the film online. Now, that can work very positively because you've given someone 30 to 40 minutes of the film going, oh my God, I can't wait to see the next hour and 20 minutes or whatever. But also, those people who were on the fence, they've seen 30 to 40 minutes of the film and they're like, this really isn't for me. And they put the money back in their pocket and they're going to spend it elsewhere. There seems to be it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I really do, it doesn't make me sound really old, but I really do miss the days, and I've said this on the show previously, where you see a movie, and obviously you're going to have the internet, so it's slightly changed by its very nature, but where you see a movie trailer 3 months before the movie comes out, or you see a tease the summer before, and then you don't see anything until like maybe 6 months, and then they pull it, and then 3 months, and then they pull it, and then the movie comes out. And that I miss that where you would just see it on like a video VHS you'd hire, or you'd see it in the movie theaters. But now it's a constant bombardment, and I think it can be off-putting.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And also there's so many factors in that. I don't want to get too much into it, but I just think, and I think this is, they really should have focused on pushing, and I think they were right to go heavy on Harry Potter because of Wizarding World, because that is 4 months away. Yeah. However, I just think it's a little bit cockeyed, a little bit imbalanced. But we'll move on from Comic-Con in a second.
Yeah, I just think that, when you're planning something as big as Comic-Con, you can't have too little, you can't have too much. Yeah. And so we didn't need we didn't need an hour-long panel on Bumblebee. Sorry about that, Paramount. I love you guys.
20 minutes.
You've been kicking ass this year.
Come out, deliver, go.
But we don't need an hour of Travis Knight sitting there explaining the technical aspects of stuff, because I'll tell you, people were bored. I mean, people like us are into that. 7,000 people in Hall H or whatever, 9,000, whatever it is in there, they don't want to hear that. They want to see some clips. They want to see shit blowing up. They want to get excited. They want to talk to the celebs, and that's it.
Get in, put it out there, fuck off.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
keep it tight. Keep it tight.
I don't know.
But I mean, it was a lot of people in the chat saying Comic-Con needed the big C, the big DC actors like Ben Affleck and Margot Robbie. I think the star power needed an extra push this year. Comic-Con was kind of weak. That's from John Harrison. Senior Nerd DC presentation wasn't a letdown. There are always going to be people that disagree. I agree. Zayas Bilu, sup guys, sup Zayas. Wesley Kid, yes, I agree, John. It was underwhelming. The Lego Movie 2 really does look weak. I mean, I think it looks quite fun, but I just think, why would you start to push Lego Movie 2 when you know you've got Teen Titans Go to the movies coming out this weekend?
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, which we'll talk about later. I mean, I think it was a really interesting thing. They tried something new. They've been trying something new with Comic-Con last year. I mean, I think there was a lot of disorganized elements.
Yes.
Whether I was in queues to pick up my press badge, the fact that I didn't get my press badge until I chased them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're cleared. Here's an email." They usually send it. There are a lot of really basic things that I think need to be looked at with Comic-Con for the next year and the year after. And let's talk about crowds and stuff as well. Let's talk about the vibe and the crowds. To me, it seemed like the crowds were a lot less this year than even last year. Even when I was sort of going through activations and doing that sort of thing. And cosplay seemed to have dropped. It seemed like
there was barely anyone in costume this year.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a lot of people, but by comparison to previous years, it was not a lot of people.
Well, I think...
Even in the gas lamp.
Oh, well, I think
really weird.
We even have to point out that every year when we go, I feel like everything goes up. So parking used to be, I remember days where it started off at like $10, $15.
I saw $50 this year.
No, $70. I paid $70 twice.
Fuck.
Yeah, $70. So when you kind of start adding things up now, it's like, do people realize, or are they starting to realize that they're paying more to go there for the 4 days with the hotel, the parking, than they are even for 4 sets of badges if you're a family?
Yeah.
And I think
you don't need a badge these days because of the internet, everybody's putting all these trailers out and stuff like that.
And they come out like this.
And
There's
the activations are there and they're free.
Yeah. And I mean, the crowd vibe though overall, like it just, everyone felt like they were just there for one thing and then they left.
There was a lot of that this year.
It was like, so they went to the Predator thing, but they didn't care about the Predator thing. They cared about Doctor Who and Jodie Whittaker being there.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that, it was like half of Hall H left. It was like, okay, gone. And I felt bad because then they had some really weird choices like Assassination Nation. Like, what the hell was that doing there? Like, there's no promotion. Like, that movie, like, no one's talking about it. No one cares about it. Why is it there? And it closes out the night.
I would have held Hotel Artemis, one of my favorite movies of the year, which it seems like nobody saw it. Which was a massive shame. I would have held that back to, like, end of August, early September, and I would have had a panel with Hotel Artemis.
Yeah.
Because that would have played really well in that room.
Right.
And had a screening. I mean, the screenings were kind of odd this year.
Oh, there was no big screening.
No.
That was also very strange. I feel like every year, like you had the Blair Witch a few months before that. I saw Snowden, which was a weird choice to be there, but still, it was a major release. This is like, okay, so we're going to do a screening of Teen Titans, which comes out next Friday. And like, we're not going to promote it at all.
Yeah. It's just strange.
Yeah.
Very strange year. I mean, I'm looking forward to going back next year. I do enjoy going to Comic-Con. And for me, it was a very busy one, but it was a very, very strange one. And I have to say, I think Comic-Con it's great that they get a lot of coverage, but I was in a lot of rooms where there were people doing roundtables and stuff like that. There are too many outlets.
Oh.
It is saturated, and some of these are, no disrespect, but effectively hobbyists.
Yes.
And I don't know how many people read some of these contents. Some of these websites, and I'm pretty well versed on sites and stuff out there, I'd never heard of. It was just you. It's not about quantity. I think it's about quality. And I think you will get... I mean, the thing is that when you put something online now, some fucker's going to rip it off anyway.
Oh, for sure.
They're either going to copy and paste, or they're going to copy and paste and do a little rewrite. So you don't need to have 60 outlets doing round tables and 20 in a line. You would get much better coverage with less outlets, keep the quality there. Some of those outlets have a bit more time with the talent. They're going to get stronger editorial lines, and I think that's the way that they should be moving forward. I mean, it seemed like everybody had a press badge, and I just think they need to look at that next year.
You go in those press rooms, like, just a little spoiler, my wife Ashley.
Some of the sites that and stuff were there weren't even fucking TV or film sites.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And I find this very weird.
So my wife, covers all the shows. She watches a lot of TV shows. So she was in Doctor Who. She's in Riverdale. She's in Supernatural. And she watches these shows religiously. Like she knows all about them, all the story arcs. And she sits at tables and she's like, half these people don't even know anything about the show. They're just there. Yeah. Because they got in. My good friend from the East Coast, who I won't mention her name, she went for the first year and they signed her to go. And she's like, she was in the Doctor Who one. And she's like, I never seen an episode of this. Yes, she's there. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, stop doing this. There are too many outlets. Yeah. And you really need to, if you want the best possible coverage, I hate to say it, you want to go after the people who actually know what the show's about or are fans of it.
Yeah.
Because the the journalists who write about something that they love are going to produce the best content. Not like, oh, let's just put a bunch of people in the room and like throw shit at the wall and I hope it sticks.
Agree. I think there's a lot of things they need looking at for next year. And if Comic-Con would like my advice, I would be more than happy to share my insight with them. Sure. I'm sure they won't do that, but if they do want it, I am more than happy to do so. Okay, let's move on from that. By the way, I forgot to tell you at the top of the show who I am and where you can find me online. I suddenly realised. My name is Simon Thompson. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Showbiz Simon. I work for a range of places, Forbes, Reuters, the list. I mean, you can literally Sci-Fi Now. I mean, literally, the list is endless. But yeah, so that's where you can find me. And let's talk about some other stuff. There was some news that broke. We got a lot of stuff to get through. We've got about half an hour left on the show because I know you've got to shoot off to. You're hanging out with Mark Wahlberg today.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with him tomorrow.
And Ronda Rousey and all those wonderful people.
She is funny.
Is she?
She is funny.
I have never met her.
She has a wicked sense of humor. You'll have some fun with her.
Okay, cool.
She's kick-ass. Literally, she could kick anybody's ass. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about some stuff that I originally hadn't sort of factored into the show, but we can't ignore it.
Sure.
The Disney Fox shareholders have approved the merger for the tidy sum of $71.3 billion. Okay, so a lot of people are automatically speculating, and there was talk about this. We kind of knew it was going to happen in the next day or two. Let's use a comment from Sky in the chat to illustrate this. Oh my God, I'm hurt about the rumors that Fox Marvel Cinematic Universe has scrapped all film projects due to the Fox Disney deal. I hope it's not true. I really want to see those films. Fact is, Sky, we don't know yet.
Right.
There are people behind closed doors right now that do know. A lot of the things that have already been made, they're not going to put those on a shelf.
No.
That's not going to happen. The Marvel Universe, whether it is Fox or Disney, is a honeypot. It is a cash cow that keeps milking those Benjamins. This is not something they are going to shut down, lock up. What they might do, and there's nothing to support this right now, but it's an option, is for them to reassess what they want to do and maybe thin out some of the offerings so they don't start to cannibalize themselves, which we can see within genres. We've seen it for various reasons for the likes of Star Wars and stuff like that. So they might piece them out a little bit. Some of them might do like what they've done with Inhumans and turn them into TV shows. There might be some movement on that landscape. Exactly what that will be, we do not know. What are your thoughts on this, Scott?
I mean, I agree with you. I think they're never going to stop making these types of movies. I mean, until like the box office comes in for like 5 of them in a row where it's like they make 30 or 40 million, they're not going to stop making them. And I feel like X-Men, they've been wanting that franchise for so long. I mean, that's the one we always hear about. Everyone's like, I want X-Men to be in the MCU.
X-Men movies, I think they've gone slightly downhill, but they're still big money spinners.
No, they're roller coasters. Yeah. That's how I feel about it. Like you're like going up,
like many genres,
then you go,
like many franchises,
and then you go up.
Yeah.
Like First Class was fantastic, and then in the next two were like not as good. But that always had, and then you had Logan, which like.
But all franchises, all series go through that. I mean, Fast and Furious, some of them are absolutely great. Some of them, I'm like, I don't need to see that again.
Right.
So it's something that happens. You can't always have a bullseye. And when I spoke to Peyton Reed quite recently for a piece for Forbes, he was saying, nobody wants to be that guy in the Marvel Universe that has the movie that doesn't make money, that bombs. But he said that is going to happen at some point, and it will. Not every movie can be a hit. Something's got to be at the bottom of the list. Something's got to not quite work with the audience.
Yeah. I mean, this deal, I'm not happy about this deal. I don't think a lot of people are. I'm more concerned on my end is that I just hope that, I know they said like so far, like Fox Searchlight is safe. But the truth is about most award movies is that they don't make money. But I feel like those are movies that are like really great.
And a lot of people don't see them.
Right.
Especially if you're outside of somewhere like LA, and Chicago, New York, the major kind of cosmopolitan metropolis.
Yeah, I mean, like when you look at like something like Whiplash.
Yeah.
For example, like that made like $12 million overall at the box office. Like everyone in our circle knows about it. And anyone who's a film fan knows about it.
But most people know about a movie and they haven't seen it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm more worried about. And I think everyone who's a diehard film fan should be worried about that more than worrying about these big franchises. Because in all fairness, if they axe one of them, you already have like 25 other ones. You're not going to miss it too much.
There's another one coming up behind it. They're like buses.
Yeah.
Super buses.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like standing in the train station in New York City. It's like there's another one coming.
Yeah. I think this deal is going to be done quite quickly.
Oh, for sure.
I think we could see this done and dusted and a plan already laid out, sort of certainly by Q1, definitely by Q2 next year.
Well,
they want to act on this because obviously there is, and this is a really good example actually with the things like franchises and properties that Fox have that Disney will now want to capitalize on. And again, I'm actually going to retweet this later on today. I did a piece probably about 9 months ago when the deal looked like it was going to be happening about properties that Fox own that I think Disney would want to remake.
Right.
And there's a slew of those, and I think Disney will want to look through that and go, what can we recapitalize? And we'll get to one of those in just a second. And I think that will happen. So I don't think they want to mess about. I think a lot of discussions will have been going on behind closed doors. They often do with these things. And I think they'll want to do a Band-Aid. They won't want this to rip off, have a lot of speculation. There will be some, but I think they'll want to try and limit it. And I think they'll act on this quite quickly. I think a lot of the infrastructure will be already sort of there in principle, and they'll start to move with that. Because next summer, we talked about 12 months. Yeah. That can be a long time, but it's also, if you're looking at next summer's slate, that is not a long time.
No.
So you have a lot of Disney product and a lot of Fox product that we already know is on the slate for Q1, awards season next year, then going into summer blockbuster. These strategies, these media strategies are planned 12 to 18 months, sometimes 2 years in advance, and often sometimes right from the concept stage, so that they're all laid out. So they want to get that. They don't want to derail any of that stuff. They want to make sure this transition is smooth. So there'll be a lot of this stuff already going in there. Some stuff, inevitably, it happens with mergers, will be pushed to the side or shelved or deprioritized. That will happen.
Right, but I think that's going to be the smaller project. But they're not going to start not making. Right, they're going to be smaller projects.
And also, don't forget, this deal does open a lot of things where you might have had a product, say, that you were developing at Fox as a Marvel thing, and actually now with the Disney streaming service is going to be the overarching thing. You're going to say, actually, we were going to have that as a feature in movie theaters. Let's not scrap it. Let's take it from theaters. Let's put it on streaming. That gives people a really good reason to do streaming. So I think you're going to see a change of priorities more than you're going to see stuff being, chucked in the trash. I think that is more likely. A lot of time, a lot of effort is going to be put into this, and a lot of the deal is to do with properties and assets, but I think a lot of it is also to do with the profitability of these projects. They put a lot of money into these. They don't want to piss that away.
I can see Disney creating their own version of like a movie pass for their movies.
That would not surprise me.
John Harrison said, Disney having this much control scares me. It's very true. It's because they're going to own so many franchises. They're going to be released so many films that they probably could do something like that, where they can create their own like movie type pass.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, we want to charge X amount of money for people to see these movies.
Yep.
And at least we'll know we'll get the asses and seats. For it.
And that's basically what this is all about.
Yes.
I mean, people make movies because they love art, they love making cinema, but if nobody puts their ass in a seat and pays $10 to $15 for it, there is no point in starting the cameras rolling.
No
point whatsoever.
That's why
it's all about making, and this is whether you're Disney, whether you're Fox, whether you're Sony, whether you're Paramount, you don't make shit for fun. That's expensive hobbying. That is really expensive hobbying. Michael Bay's not sitting at home going like, I'll tell you what I'd love a Transformers, but he's from the north of England, by the way, Michael Bay. I'll tell you what, I'd love a Transformers movie. That'd be amazing. Just for me, like, a couple of million, but I mean, hopefully other people go and see it. I don't know. But nobody does that.
Right.
Films are not made for the filmmakers.
Only independent filmmakers.
Yeah, true. And then they become Hollywood blockbusters.
And then that gets sad when no one picks up their movie because you're like, who is this for? Who's going to see this movie?
But it's show business. Even when you make a small movie, it's business.
Yeah.
You don't open a restaurant because you love cooking. You open a restaurant because you love cooking and you hope that people are going to want to eat what you're making.
Absolutely.
That is why you do it. So I think it's going to be interesting. Like I say, I don't think it's going to drag out. I think it's going to be pretty swift because they've got a lot in the next 12 to 18 months.
The most important thing that you're not talking about is that the wonderful government that we have right now, and not sorry to get political on this, is that no one's going to look at any of this. No one's concerned with maybe this should not be happening. No one's going to shut it down. So it's going to, like you said, it's going to go
going to go
really
quick.
Yeah, it's going to go very quick.
It's going to go quick.
Yeah.
Which is quite ironic because, no, I'm not going to get into it.
Don't.
Liberal propaganda.
Yes.
Okay, we've got just over 20 minutes on the show. Let's rip through another bunch of the big stories that we mentioned at the top of the show. Charlie's Angels reboot. We knew this was coming. We knew Elizabeth Banks was going to be directing, so that remains the same. She's also going to be Bosley. The Angels were announced this week, though. Kristen Stewart, Naomi Scott, probably best known for the Power Rangers movie last year, and she's also in Disney's Aladdin. And someone that a lot of people will not be aware of is Ella Balinska, who is a British actress. Interesting cast.
She replaced Lupita.
I believe so.
Remember, she was supposed to be in this.
It was originally meant to be Lupita. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. I'm assuming negotiations just didn't go whichever way. But it's interesting. I liked the Charlie's Angels movies with Drew and Cameron and Lucy. I even liked Full Throttle. I've got to be honest with you. That was dumb fun.
I love Crispin Glover in those movies. I thought he was great.
But I mean, I think I'm actually looking forward to this. What do you think about the casting?
I love Kristen Stewart, so I'll see anything that Kristen Stewart said. And I think Naomi Scott is actually fantastic. I loved her in the Power Rangers movie. I thought she was one of the strongest actors in that. And then, of course, I'm always for new actors getting roles. So I still want to point this out that I wish that we would give females their own franchises, their own original material, and stop giving them reboots and rehashes.
There are plenty of ideas sitting on the desks of executives.
I'm with people who say that, and 100% support that idea because I will criticize the fuck out of this film if it sucks because I don't care if it's the female version because it's not fair that they got second-level material if it sucks. I'm also concerned about Elizabeth Banks because, my God, Pitch Perfect 2 was terrible.
It was. Pitch Perfect 2, I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was a considerable drop in standard to the first film, which I love.
And
Pitch Perfect 3 was just almost unforgivably bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm worried about this project, but I feel like with those three leading ladies, it has the potential to be good. I'm just worried about the script and the direction.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
More than anything else.
Eric Z saying, Simon, I think of Destiny's Child song Independent Women when I think of those films.
Yes.
Lol. No, absolutely. Zeno, I'm interested in the Charlie's Angels reboot. I'm looking forward to it. I think that's great.
Hashtag diversity. Yes, very much so.
Yeah, John Harrison saying, I enjoyed those Muck G Fests. If you like, I was not a massive fan of his work. I thought it was patchy. But if you haven't seen, there's a movie on Netflix, The Babysitter. I believe it's called.
Yeah.
That's a Muck G joint. And did you not like it, Anthony?
I love that movie.
Oh, you did like it.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah. So good.
With Samara Weaving. Too.
Yeah, she's amazing. So do check that out. It's on Netflix, and I think that's the exclusive one at the moment. It's a Netflix original movie. Do check that out. But yeah, I mean, this is obviously, some people are going to go, oh, it's diverse, but I mean, fuck, the world is. Suck it up, you know? Okay, let's talk about the Joker. Robert De Niro and Francis Conroy in talks to join Joker opposite Joaquin Phoenix. Also, Zazie Beetz. Zazie Beetz?
Yeah,
Zazie Beetz. She's also in talks to join the movie at the moment. Robert De Niro, I think, would be great, assuming to play Joker's father. And Francis Conroy, apparently, in talks to play Joker's mother. Frances McDormand, there were reports that she was actually considered for the role. I think she would have been great. Yeah. I think Melissa Leo and Jackie Weaver would have been good choices as well.
Melissa Leo would have been great.
Would have been really cool. I worked with her recently for the Equalizer 2, and I just think she deserves to do more sort of. She got no credit really for. I mean, she's not in a huge amount, but for Equalizer 2, and I think she's such a great actor. I would love to see her do it. But Frances Conroy, if you don't know, she's probably most recently best known for American Horror Story.
Yes,
she was in that show. Great, interesting choices.
Yeah.
De Niro, I'm really looking forward to.
I know. He needs something good.
Yeah, same as Pacino. Pacino's in LA at the moment filming the new Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's actually on Hollywood Boulevard a lot doing his scenes at the moment. But I think, it's good. And I think, I said before, hit and miss about Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
But this is a cast that's really coming together in a really nice way.
It's hard because I don't feel like anyone in this movie has star power to sell the movie. It's a good, like, if you're looking at it from an acting perspective, or like at the careers of these people, you're like, these are good choices, but like you're like, can they sell a movie? Especially something where it's going to be, the budget's going to be at least $100 million.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, I think it's really, they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people that were kind of like, actually, I don't think this movie is going to get made, it seems to me that I think that it's not only likely to get made, but they're throwing an increasingly amount of weight behind it, which I think is really good. And I think it's going to bring something to the wider DC universe that I think is somewhat lacking. At the moment in pedigree, which I think is something that we had with the Nolan Batman films. Great DC movies, really good DC movies. And I think I might be wrong, but I think this might be some of the ingredients that we've been missing previously. So we'll see what happens. This is a story that broke while we're at Comic-Con. I won't go too much into this because we don't have a huge amount of time, unfortunately. James Gunn being fired as the director of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Lots of names being thrown around as possible replacements. There is a petition to have him reinstated. This is because of tweets that he posted a number of years ago online. And there appears to be something that is tit for tat going on right now within the US, where people are going back through people's tweets. And I'm probably sure I've tweeted things that are unsavory or could be misconstrued or are just outright, not okay. But it was interesting to see Disney's reaction to this.
It was like instant, it was very strange. I think this kind of goes back to
But this wasn't new because he had addressed it previously, a couple of years ago in an article.
What's very strange about this whole situation is that why do I feel like we're going backwards in society rather than forward? I mean, do you remember the time, like, it wasn't that long ago, where, like, you could pretty much, comedians and actors and directors, anyone could pretty much joke about anything. We would joke about suicide, the Holocaust, killing babies, like... And it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
And like now, it's like everything we've become. I hate to say this because I think Clint Eastwood said it, but like a nation of whiners. But I do feel like that. Like everything's such a big deal. It's like the guy made a joke. It was distasteful. Sure, I agree 100%.
Yep.
Dan Harmon, something happened with him with the baby rape or something too.
Yep.
Video, and he deleted his Twitter. Like, come on. Like these guys, I almost feel like they're testing the water. Almost like they're just kind of like, let's see how we can do it at this point.
Off-color comments are off-color comments, whether they come out of somebody from the left or the right.
Right.
I think there is a distinction that needs to be made between something that someone has done or actively encourages, something that there's a lot of humor in very dark issues.
Yes.
There's a lot of humor in it. But again, you can make jokes, and then I know a lot of people make jokes about the left. And as someone who is left-leaning, I can laugh at myself.
Yeah.
It's fine. And I think we appear to have lost that. And I think we're hearing a lot of cries where people are saying, we're too PC, and then someone is not PC, and all of a sudden it's like, oh well, you can't say this. But there is a very distinct difference between saying something that is hate speech and something that is off-color humor.
Right. It's a joke in bad taste.
Yes.
Yeah. And first of all, if you're looking back at James Gunn, if you looked at his early career, if you watch Super or Slither, he's made some really batshit movies that are like push boundaries. I mean, Super, like the relationship between Ellen Page and Rainn Wilson in that movie, it's very uncomfortable. I remember watching that in the theater when it came out, and it's very awkward and it seems wrong, but it's there. And I mean, that's James Gunn when he was there. It's, he got part of a big franchise now. He was a different person back then. It's like me going back to your college days, right? And saying, oh my God, you dumped that girl or whatever, you called her a bitch or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's different because people grow. Like, why are we like...
Do you know what? Everyone's an asshole.
That's right. Just
everyone has that moment at some point in their life.
Right. I agree with you. 100%.
Everybody's an asshole.
And I don't know why we forget this. And it's like everyone...
And sometimes good people do bad things. And I'm not saying, going out and murdering. It's like people make bad decisions. We say stupid fucking things.
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, men, women, anyone, it doesn't matter what color you are. You date the wrong guy. You let something happen that shouldn't have happened. It happens to all of us. So it's like, stop. Unless someone seriously did something that, like Weinstein, like that's Done.
That's
an example of an extreme situation where like everybody came out of the woodwork. This was like a clusterfuck, like fuck that guy, hope he burns in hell kind of thing.
Yeah.
But these other things where it's just accusations or it's like, oh, we made this joke that didn't fly well. Stop being a baby about it. I hate to say it, just stop being a baby.
But also, I'm kind of like, take responsibility
Yes.
for your actions.
Yes.
And I know there was something to do with Roseanne Barr this week where she commented about the comments that James Gunn had made. And a lot of the comments, Ted Cruz got involved in this as well. And he was kind of like, well, James Gunn did this. And I'm like, well, yes, but there is a difference between making jokes that are offensive and doing something that is racist.
Yeah, right, right.
And but I'm also like, I would have more respect for people. And I believe strongly in freedom of speech on both sides.
Sure,
100%. It's really, really important. But there is a difference between freedom of speech and hate speech.
Yes.
And things that are racism. And I'm like, I would actually have more respect for people, and this is on both sides, if when people make a comment, you own up to it and go, yep, that's what I feel, or that was a bad call. Own it and accept it. And you will get a lot more respect for doing that.
I agree.
James Gunn owned it, said that was fucking stupid.
I know.
I get it. And I think he handled it very well.
I did too.
But,
and I feel like it's very unfair that he was fired for that.
Do you know what? I think it was unfair because people knew that these are comments that he'd made and he had addressed it previously.
Not like it's new.
It's been brought up before. But I think we are in a time, and I think this is negative for both sides of the aisle, where the only way out now is to fire people. And I don't think that's necessarily always the solution. There are shades of grey. There are scales on various things. And I think things need to be dealt with in that way.
I know we shouldn't talk about this topic too much because we have
a lot to get through.
We got a lot to get through. But I do want to point this out too, is that in our world, and it's very hard. Like I've been working at my other job this week, and I talked to someone and asked them what the last movie they saw in the theater was, and they said Black Panther, and they said like their boyfriend saw Deadpool and whatever. Like people don't see that many movies, and I think we forget about this. And I want to. The reason I'm bringing this up is that these topics that we talk about all the time, like with the Me Too movement and everything that's going on with all this stuff with James Gunn and all these actors, the average person doesn't care as much about it as we do. Like it's almost like it's our sense of importance. Like, and we're not saving lives. This is like. It's entertainment, for frickin' Christ's sake. Like, that's what it is. It's entertainment. And, like, we act like, and there's so many people in our industry who are, like, on a high horse thinking that they're saving the world because James Gunn got fired. Yes! Another one bites the dust kind of thing. And it's like, on a scale of everything that's going on in the world, this is, like, down here. It doesn't matter.
I'm also I'm a strong believer in consistency in an argument.
Oh, for sure.
And I see at the moment, and again, this is on both sides, I see a lot of flip-flopping.
Oh.
But I'm like,
Morgan Freeman's fine, right? Like, no, that happened. Morgan Freeman walked out, 2 days later,
all I ask for is consistency. And if you have a viewpoint, just maintain that viewpoint. Don't flip-flop. And we see this in various things. I'm like,
all the time.
You can't, otherwise you totally compromise your principles and you don't stand for anything.
Yeah.
You don't stand for anything apart from just being in opposition.
Going back to that Johnny Depp thing, there was I tweeted that I really liked the trailer, and I got a ton of hate on it because I mentioned that I like Johnny Depp. And a bunch of haters commented on it. And some nice person actually posted and said, you should research this a little bit more before you comment. And they posted 5 different articles and screenshots of how the whole thing was debunked, that there was articles that were not publicized here, but in the UK, that Amber Heard, wasn't even home that night when that report was made and all this stuff. But of course, no one wants to look at any of that. And I'm not saying
I picked my truth.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's like you pick your truth. And I'm not standing up for either one of them at this. Because whatever happens behind closed doors and whatever happens, let's not pretend that celebrities are not like us, where they don't get in fights and get in drunken fits of rage.
Yeah.
Because it always happens. Sorry to wake that up, reveal that to you. But, it's just very strange because once you pick a side, and then it's like, if anything, all this information comes out, no one wants to believe it.
But when further facts come out, you can change your opinion, but don't flip-flop for convenience. That is
right,
different.
right.
A lot of people saying, obviously, people differing opinions on James Gunn in the chat. A lot of people saying they think James Gunn won't work again. Do you know what? I think James Gunn will work again. I don't think his career is over.
He will definitely work again.
And do you know what? I think some of the people who are outraged by James Gunn's comments will go and see it. And I think a lot of people will go and see whatever he puts out next. And I think, to be honest with you, the average person outside of the industry who went to see the Guardians movies and will probably still watch the Guardians movies at home, didn't know that James Gunn directed them.
No.
If you asked them to name the director of the Guardians movies, they wouldn't know.
No.
They just wouldn't know. It's outrage over anything else. And I think that is a very dangerous precedent.
Yes.
We have 6 minutes left on the show. So people are going to say, talking about movies this week, let's talk about box office. There's a lot of other stuff we didn't cover. That's a shame. But Mission Impossible Fallout. Let's look at box office. 6 million on Thursday. It's looking at taking 50 to 65 million this weekend. I think it's going to top that. Rogue Nation, by comparison, in its Thursday previews, took 4 million. Here's how some of the other Mission Impossible's movies stack up with their weekend. If we're looking at Fallout taking 50 to 65, Rogue Nation, 55.5 million. The highest was MI2, which was 57.8 million, and the lowest was Ghost Protocol, which is 29.6 million. So there is quite a difference in all of those. I've seen Mission Impossible Fallout on Monday. You saw it a couple of weeks ago. I absolutely loved that movie. That makes James Bond, and I quoted this, look lazy as fuck. I have not been so edge of the seat excited and exhilarated by an action movie since I don't know when. This film is a film that offers so much and delivers on every single thing that it offers. It was absolutely superb, and it's in my top 5 movies of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just for entertainment. I'm not saying artistically it's it's like a work of art, but for the genre pick that it is, it's a fine example.
I mean, there's no other movie this year that can top it for stunts.
No.
I mean, there's none. And that's, to me, when I watched this movie, that's what stood out. I mean, you're watching
Phenomenal
this and you're
work.
so used to watching green screen and all this stuff that's, like Skyscraper from 2 weeks ago, the movie.
Which I also loved.
I loved it too, but it's like, it's green screen and it's not doing any, but watching him dangle out of a freaking helicopter and the edge of a freaking cliff, when you're watching that and it's real, it adds a whole nother layer to the storytelling, to the filmmaking. And I think that really, stands out about that movie. And Tom Cruise is such a movie star, and he's so perfect in this role. And I love the supporting cast, like Simon Pegg. I mean, he's amazing in it. And just everyone in it, and the women kick ass. I mean, it's really, really well done. The only thing that I will say is that Henry Cavill, his acting's a little choppy from time to time in the movie. That's where I would probably knock it down a little bit.
I think he offered a nice genre ham element to it, which I really enjoyed. Let's talk about Teen Titans Go to the Movies. I haven't seen this. I will be checking it out this weekend. That took 1 million on Thursday, looking at a weekend of 13 to 19 million. I've heard great things about this.
One of my favorite animated movies of the year. Awesome. Seriously,
it looks really good.
It's.
I would have loved to have seen it, Warner.
To use the cool term, it's very meta.
Great.
It's very self-aware,
but not exclusive.
No,
it doesn't. Okay, great.
No, and there's a lot of run-on gags in the movie. It pokes fun at not only superhero movies but franchises and sequels, and it's so on point consistently throughout. And I just adored it. I thought it was so entertaining from beginning to end.
Okay, we've got about 4 minutes left on the show, so we're going to run through the trailers because I do want to get these in very quickly. Let's just say, out of the 2 movies, what would you go and see this week? Would it be Mission Impossible Fallout if you could see one movie?
I have to vote on them every week. I gave Teen Titans the leg up on that, just because I knew it was going to be underrepresented. But I would say they're about equal. I would see both. Just go to a matinee, see a double feature.
There is some good shit in movie theaters right now.
There really
good
is.
Summer movies.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, trailers. Let's go. Godzilla, King of Monsters. Yay or nay? Or I was an Everybody was losing their shit, and I was like, okay. I don't know. I didn't.
The first movie. Here's the thing.
I didn't love the first one.
I think this movie looks better than the first movie, but because I didn't like the first movie, I'm kind of like, I wanted to get excited when they show Mothra and all those other, the monsters. I got excited when they showed them, but I'm still kind of like, all right.
Yeah. Moths. Shazam.
I was really excited. I know you didn't feel this way, but I was really excited about this. David F. Sanborn and Zachary Levi just looks like fun. Just a fun, tongue-in-cheek superhero movie that looks like what's that, American Hero?
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Do you know what? I'm open to being convinced right now. It's not doing
it for you?
No, it's not doing it for me right now. Aquaman.
Did you see both the clips?
I saw, yeah.
Okay, the second one was better than the first one.
Yeah.
Some of the CG looks a little...
Shonky?
Yeah, a little wonky, but the action and the humor hit.
Yeah, I'm still excited about seeing Aquaman. Yeah. I think from what I saw, I'm like, I think I might have some visual problems with it, but I'm still looking forward to it as a movie. Glass.
It didn't wow.
It didn't wow me, but it left me really curious and really, really sort of, I do want to see the movie. There's a lot of stuff in that.
Seeing the three in the room, that was kind of special.
Yeah.
You were kind of like, well, this looks promising, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm sold on this.
I think I am sold on it, and I think it's one thing M. Night does, and it's a bugbear of mine with other people when they cut trailers, is the fact that there's a lot of stuff in there. You're like, how?
Yeah,
what
yeah, right.
And I'm kind of like, okay, I think there's a lot of gaps in this that you're going to see. You're finally going to see stuff in a movie that they haven't shown in the trailers.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm like, okay, cool. There's enough here that's going to get me little nuggets that are going to pull me in. So I'm still psyched about that. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald.
I thought this was the best trailer at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan or Wizarding World fan, and I enjoyed Fantastic Beasts, but I didn't like lose my shit over it. I'm actually really optimistic about this one. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to offer a lot more. I think the first one was a nice scene setter. This is where they're really going to...
I mean, the first one really left a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
But this one, just the actors now, they're in the roles.
Yeah.
Adding Jude Law, adding Johnny Depp, I feel like that all feels like a really good formula.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to really work. The visual effects look a lot better in this one than they did in the first one. So that was the one trailer when they showed it, I really felt like tingling. Like, I don't know if you ever feel that way when you watch...
Occasionally.
Yeah, when you watch a trailer, you're kind of like, this
Not as often as I'd like these days.
No.
Which moves us on to the final one before we have to get the fuck out of here. Alita Battle Angel dropped early this week.
They've been pushing this so much. Like, there was something at South by for this.
Yeah.
Like, they can't get buzz for it.
There are moments that look genius, and there are moments where I'm like, that needs work.
I think it's gonna flop. I think it's gonna be a big, huge flop.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by it. I don't know if it's a trailer issue or the feel's not going to be quite right.
I don't think they can sell it.
Very much on the fence about that, but I'm looking forward to the final thing. Scott, who are you and where can we find you?
Sure, you can find me on WeLiveEntertainment.com. You can go to Instagram and Twitter. Oh my God! Twitter at the other Scott M, and then I am on Black Tomatoes at 5 p.m. on Black Hollywood Live every Sunday.
And if you miss that live show, of course, you can download it on iTunes. Like and subscribe to all the shows here on the Popcorn Talk. The Pop's easy for me to say. The Popcorn Talk Network. This is Meet the Movie Press. My name is Simon Thompson. You can find me at Showbiz Simon on Instagram and Twitter. We've both got to go because we've got really busy days.
We got really busy days.
Hollywood doesn't sleep. Scott, thank you for joining me again. We'll be back next week. Demetri is going to be back next week, and we are going to be introducing some new people to the panel over the next couple of months. So if there's anybody you think we should have on the show, let us know. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, write us lovely reviews on iTunes. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Watch movies. Do as little as possible. And if you can, don't put your pants on.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.